What's up, Eagles Nation? Welcome to week 7 of the NFL season here, the 2021-22 NFL season. It seems like eons ago the Eagles last played their game. Last Thursday night, a loss, as we know, against Tampa Bay. I believe, what was it, 28-22 or something like that, the score was. The game really wasn't as close as that final score indicated that it was. And I went over a bit of the game last week. And one of the things we've all been very frustrated with this season so far with the Eagles, so far with a new head coach and coaching staff, has been the inconsistencies, has been the really not practicing what you preach, basically, right? You had Nick Sirianni saying many a time that he wants to put these players in the best possible positions to have success, to use their strengths, to have success, not just individually, but on the season, right? Now, what's the one that we all know the glaring issue for this team so far? The glaring issue for the offense so far has not been able to establish a running game, failing to not even attempt to establish a running game. The problem with that, listen, I'm not going to tell you that Miles Sanders and Gainwell and whoever they put in there is a Derrick Henry. I'm not even going to say they're a Leonard Fournette. But I look at some of those teams that have establishing running games in their offenses, and we're talking about, in one case, a team with the GOAT at quarterback, the team we just played a little over a week ago, I should say. Their offense is run by the fact that they establish a running game. That's a physical offense. You have Tom Brady back there, again, the GOAT, and you're out there. You're establishing a running game to set up the passing game, right? With all those great wide receivers that they have, even with having those great receivers and when he's healthy, Gronk at tight end, they're running the ball to set up the passing game. Tennessee doesn't. Now, Tennessee has Derrick Henry. He's, I mean, you want to talk about the current GOAT at the running back position, it's probably number 22 in Tennessee. That guy is just an absolute beast. He's amazing. But they run the ball. And last Monday night, they played a game against the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo came in as one of the top rush defenses in the league. Tennessee did not abandon the running game because they were playing a top running defense. The Eagles, a week ago, played against another very good run stopping defense in Tampa Bay. The Eagles basically said, all right, well, we're playing this top running defense, rush defense. Let's not even try. Until about the fourth quarter when they had some successful runs. I understand it's the fourth quarter and what it is, what it is. But at the same token, listen, Tennessee came out a week ago. They ran the ball. They didn't abandon the run even when Buffalo made some stops early in the game. They didn't go away from it because they know what their identity is and they didn't get away from it. And what happened? At the end of the game, they won the game. And Derrick Henry had some big runs and made some big plays as he does on a week-to-week basis for that offense, even against one of the top rush defenses in the league in Buffalo. They were able to stick to their identity, what makes them, what makes that offense tick, right? Now, the Eagles, again, we don't have Derrick Henry. We don't have Leonard Fournette. I feel we have some really good young running backs, though, in Sanders and Gainwell. You wouldn't know it because they hardly touch the ball on the ground. Listen, you have a quarterback, and I understand, this isn't about a hate the Jalen Hurts day, right? But you have a quarterback that does have inconsistencies with the passing game. So why is it that week after week after week, we have to watch an offense that does nothing but pass the ball when you have, listen, a young wide receiving core who, because they're young, they're going to make mistakes. They're not as crisp as some of these veteran receiving cores that you see. We don't even have a veteran receiver. I mean, if you want to call Ward the veteran receiver of the team, that's what you want to call him, right? We don't have that one big cagey vet on this team, right? That could teach some of these young wide receivers a thing or two about the position, about running this crisp routes, how to get open, how to beat a press off the snap, right? Other teams have that. The Eagles don't. The Eagles are trying to force feed. I think this passing game that really isn't there. I know at times they've looked okay. The Kansas City game comes to mind early in the season, week 1 against Atlanta. Realistically, those two games were really the only two games that I can think of, unless I'm kind of forgetful of some of these other games, where the passing game looked pretty on point, where it was making plays, where they were able to, keep keep possession and keep going down the field with the pass. But listen, you have to be able to establish a run. And I'm not going to say, oh, three yards in a cloud of dust, running games. Let's just hand the ball off every time. No. But if you want to run an offense the way it seems this team wants to run an offense with an RPO system, with play action, you're not going to fool a defense if you're not going to hand the ball off. I mean, it's laughable at this point. And again, I don't want to hate on Jalen Hurts, but he doesn't have an NFL arm at this point in his career. He just doesn't. He doesn't survey the field as much as he should. He misses some throws. He doesn't have that strong arm. And with all of that, you're still not handing the ball off. You're not letting your running backs make some plays to open things up on the offense. The running game can lead to good things. Good things with the running game can lead to good things in the passing game. Even with Hurts' inability at times with throwing the ball, it still opens it up. Maybe it opens it up for some play actions where he can go out and make some plays with his feet, right? You see Baltimore do it. That's another team I failed to mention earlier in the video. Baltimore, their offense is all about running the ball, not just with Lamar Jackson, but whoever they have at running back. It seems like they have these endless running backs on that offense, right? One goes down, here comes another. It's amazing what they do, but they don't allow different situations to make them get away from who they are. Kansas City does it. Kansas City has Patrick Mahomes, and they're running the ball to set things up for their passing game, right? And to set things up where they have a mobile quarterback like a Pat Mahomes, right? The Eagles have that with Jalen Hurts. You do have a mobile quarterback, and to his credit, he has made plays with his feet. And listen, if you're gonna tell a defense that we're gonna run the ball, what that does is that brings some of those safeties up. Now you're putting a little more in the box. So now you have, even with a young receiving core, now you have some guys getting open. Now Hurts has to get them the ball, but they're open. There's more capability in the passing game if you just hand the ball off a few times. Early in the drives, let that defense know this is what we're doing. And not for nothing, this offensive line, even with the injuries, is a very good run blocking offensive line. This is what they want to do. Let them eat. And it's just they won't do it. They just pass. I understand it's a passing league. I understand all the highlights is passing, right? You see on NFL Network. But those teams, again, that have success, they're the teams that have those balanced offenses. They do set up their passing plays with running plays. They establish a running game, and it helps them out in the passing game. Whether you're Tennessee, whether you're Tampa Bay with the GOAT at quarterback, whether you're Patrick Mahomes with the Chiefs, whether you're the Ravens, teams that have had success in this league for a number of years have been able to have that balanced offense. Now the Eagles aren't on that level at this point, right? They're still trying to work themselves back into competency, right? To where they can be a playoff team, where they can have some postseason success, and that's going to take some time to get back to that type of level, right? But there are ways of getting back to that type of play, at least offensively, and that's with, again, establishing a running game and having balance on offense. You have a young quarterback, you have young receivers, even the running backs, yeah, they're young guys. You have a lot of youth at all the skill positions, and right now, obviously, look, Ertz was just traded, so now you lose one of your elder statesmen on this offense as far as, as part of one of the players at the skill position, right, the tight end position. Now you're just left with another young player in Dallas Goedert and some other young tight ends behind him, unless Rich Rodgers is on the field. But I mean, listen, it's disappointing. I look at those games, though. I look at that first part of the season, the 6 games. And yeah, there was a lot of tough games. I mean, look, you're playing 2 of the teams that were in the Super Bowl last year. You played against the Super Bowl, the defending Super Bowl champs a week ago in Tampa. You had to go against Kansas City. That game in Dallas was tough. I mean, San Francisco. Another tough game against a team that could be a playoff team. Possibly this year. Team that was in the Super Bowl just a few years ago, right? So that part of the schedule is done with now. And you do have some games coming up, including this week, that could be winnable. Listen, the Vegas Raiders, of course, that's who we're playing this week. The Vegas Raiders, they have their own issues right now, right? With some injuries. We don't know if Waller's going to play today, and if not, that's a huge offensive weapon that they won't have. But even the Raiders, they're not a great running team, but they try to establish their offenses with running the ball because they do a lot of play action fakes. And how do you suck a defense in? You can't suck them in if you don't run the ball, right? They're not gonna respect the play action. So the Raiders at least try to do some running plays, even though they're not the most successful running team in the league. It still opens things up for their offense, and they have a quarterback in Carr with a very strong arm. And he's had a decent year to this point. Now they are dealing with obviously with injuries. They're also still dealing with the situation with letting Gruden go and the emails and all this and that from years ago. Right now, listen, they got a win last week. I almost want to say it's good. I know the Eagles lost to Tampa last week, but I almost want to say as far as playing the Raiders, it's a good thing the Eagles didn't play them last week because sometimes when that type of thing happens, it's like you rally together for that game and you play real good, right? Can that sustain? Does that have that sustainability week after week after week? I don't know. I don't know. Now it's 2 weeks after the situation. They had their big emotional game last week. Can they keep that emotion there? I don't know. Eventually, it's going to be a problem for them. And I know they have an interim head coach now. Eventually, this is going to be an issue. Not just the Gruden situation, but the injuries that they have had. Eventually, this is all going to start to catch up to them. I'm not saying the Raiders are a bad team. I do think they're a good team. I think they have some good players on that team on both sides of the ball. But again, dealing with what they have to deal with, I mean, that does take its toll. It does take its toll. They looked real good a week ago. Again, I think there was a lot of emotion involved in that game. I don't think you're going to see that kind of game from the Raiders this week. But we'll see. Hey, I could be absolutely wrong, and it is what it is. But again, it won't matter regardless of what the Raiders do if the Eagles don't make the adjustments that they have to make offensively and defensively. Listen, I don't think they played horrifically terrible against Tampa a week ago. There were mistakes, and listen, when you're handcuffed to the fact that you don't have very good linebackers, and it's not going to matter what your defensive front does because there's still going to be wide open receivers down the middle because these linebackers don't cover anybody, okay? They don't. They just don't. The safeties aren't good enough. The corners are decent in Slay and Nelson, but at the same point, you're kind of putting them on islands. It's tough. It's tough, and we saw it. Look, we saw it last week when you absolutely positively had to get a stop at the end towards late in the fourth quarter when it was a close game. The defense couldn't do it. You had Antonio Brown running wide open because linebackers don't know how to cover him. Now, it's Antonio Brown, and he does that to a lot of defenses. But at the same time, it just made it that much more easier playing this defense that never values the linebacker position. And I've been saying this for years. I've said this, after winning a Super Bowl. It's like you got to value this position again, and they just won't do it. Now, hopefully, after this season, maybe they will. We'll see. To be determined, to be continued on that, right? Safety as well. It would be nice if you valued the safety position a little more. But, look, safeties play like linebackers these days anyhow, right? Some of the top safeties are like linebackers. Even back in the day when we had Dawkins, right? You had a Polamalu, you had Ed Reed. They played like linebackers. And the greats do it. You see the Honey Badger do it with Kansas City. But yeah, it would be nice if they valued those positions yet again on defense. Defensive line, look, it is what it is. I know Hargraves is having a great year at this point, a Pro Bowl caliber season. Fletcher Cox, listen, it's like the weekly complaint about Fletcher. He's getting double teams, but he still needs to make plays. Fletcher, he's old, he's this, he's that. I get it. I share the sentiments. I see that he's being double teamed just about every week, and hey, some of those double teams might move over to Hargraves pretty soon. But at the same point, he is making an impact because of the play we're getting from Hargrave, because he is getting all those doubles. It's freeing up, Hargrave to make the plays that he's been making. Listen, Big Fletch. I mean, he's going to be a future Eagles Hall of Famer. He was a part of that, a big part of that Super Bowl 52 team. One of the leaders of the defense. Yeah, I mean, do I see the problems? I do. Just because he's getting double teamed week after week. I mean, I see some other great defensive tackles get double teamed week after week, and they still fight through it, like an Aaron Donald. And maybe it's not fair to compare to an Aaron Donald, but again, you see him making plays every week, and he gets double teamed as much as any defensive lineman in the league. You still have to be able to make those plays. And listen, Fletch, he makes plays that don't show up again on the stat sheets, but he's there. He's getting pressure to the quarterback. He's making running backs kind of go in another direction, what have you. He's helping lead to some of those tackles that the defensive line has been making. Now, they haven't gotten enough pressure on the quarterback. That's been an issue. The defensive ends have been a problem. The defensive ends have been pretty much quiet just about all season. It's a shame that Brandon Graham went down. It is. He was a terrific defensive end, and he's a leader. And he still is a leader even though he's not on the field, right? But they haven't had that other guy come in and step up for him, right? You're seeing Derek Barnett get flagged every week, right? We're not getting sustained pressure from some of the other younger defensive ends. Josh Sweat, even though he got paid, he's been a bit of a disappointment so far, right? Now, there's still games to go. There's still more than half a season to go. This is just through 6 games, right? And without BG, it's really been, 5 or 4 and part of 5 right games without him, because he went down in week 2, I believe, against San Francisco during that game. But it is troubling, and when you have a defense where the strength of the defense is the defensive line, and you're not getting enough push week after week on the opposing quarterback, not making enough plays, they're getting run on too. It is a troubling thing and it's more troubling because the linebacker play has been so poor. You're not getting enough out of the safety position. Again, you're leaving these corners on islands, and though they're not terrible, but you're seeing plays be made, right? Now, for one reason or another, the Eagles have done a pretty good job against the opposing tight ends, and they have seen some really good tight ends so far this season. And if Waller plays today, that's another really good tight end. They've been able to neutralize the opponent's tight end, so I will give credit there. But you still have the slot receiver getting wide open all the time. You still have running backs getting wide open down the middle for the easy dump off passes, right? There have been some plays being made. Not a ton. And this is where I give the credit to the corners. Even though they have been on a bit of an island, they have kind of held up against the opposing number 1 and 2 receivers, right, week to week. Although Hill burned them with Kansas City. That wasn't a very good game for the for the corners. Tyreek Hill certainly had a field day that day. He does that a lot against a lot of defenses, right? So sometimes it is what it is, right? You can have the best plans and the best players known, but guys on the other team are still, if they're that type of player, they're still going to be able to make plays. And we saw that weeks ago with Tyreek Hill. I was there in person to witness that one, right? But outside of that game, I can't think of a wide receiver who's really hurt them and burned them that much, right? That we've saw to that type of degree. There's been slot receivers that have done it, but I'm talking about number 1 or 2 on the either side, right, of the field. Offensively, again, though, it's been a problem for us for the Eagles, because they have made a lot of mistakes, a lot of penalties, penalties that are avoidable, and yet they make them. I mean, some of these pick plays that they're getting called on to take touchdowns off the board, and that's been the thing that's been a real issue as well in the season, has been drives that have kind of bogged down due to penalties, and also due to just lack of creativity. I mean, listen, I'm not expecting Nick Sirianni to be Andy Reid or Bruce Arians or one of these other really good signal callers, right? But at this point coming into the season, but at the same point, it's just been very lackluster in the creativity. I mean, I'm seeing teams run all these crazy, plays in the red zone and around the goal line, right? You have the pitch plays and all these different things that seems like a real simple play to make, and the Eagles just don't do it. It's almost like it's almost like the Eagles are very Manila when it comes down to the goal line situations, right? Um, and yeah, it's a problem when you're in games and you're selling for field goals instead of touchdowns. Particularly when you're going up against real high powered offenses, you're going to have problems. Now, again, this week against the Raiders, I don't know if the Raiders are a tremendously high powered offense. I wouldn't put them up there with like a Tampa, a Kansas City, some of those other teams that the Eagles have seen in recent weeks. But listen, if you're not gonna get pressure on Derek Carr, he's gonna make plays, and they have very good receivers on the Raiders. And even if they don't have Waller today, and that's still up in the air, they still have guys that are going to make plays, right? They have Ruggs, they have various different players, and they have a very good slot receiver there too. The name is escaping me right now, number 13, but went to Clemson. But as you get older, the names kind of, who was that guy? But anyhow, they do have talent at the wide receiver position, and if you give Derek Carr time, he's going to be able to. Renfro. There's the name. If you give him time, he's gonna hurt you. He is a capable quarterback in this league. Probably one of the better quarterbacks the Eagles are going to see going forward. I know they still have to see I almost said San Diego, L.A., the Chargers, right? With that offense, that high-powered offense coming in here in a few weeks. And for some reason, they made it a 4 o'clock game. I don't know why. Helping the Chargers, I guess. But in some weeks, right? But again, as I said, listen, they do have some winnable games. And if they can win these games in Vegas and at Detroit on Halloween next week, you're 4-4. And all right, it's almost like you start over, and we'll see. Again, they're going to be playing some teams that, listen, I mean, they're winnable games. Even the Charger game could be a winnable game because it's at home. I know the Eagles haven't won a home game yet so far. But it would be a winnable game. I would consider that a winnable game. You're playing the Giants twice. You're playing the football team twice with the problems that those teams have and the injuries that those teams have. I mean, listen, there are going to be some winnable games. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. But if you don't win today, it's a frustrating thing. And I'm not expecting division title this year. It looks like Dallas pretty much has that thing wrapped up with a bow. Seasons like, it's tough. When the Eagles are and then that damn team keeps winning, it's like, damn it. Although I am reminded of the 2016 season, which was the season before the Eagles won the Super Bowl, when the Eagles had again, like they do now, a new head coach, and they were not having a great season. Dallas was just winning every week, right? And then they got to the playoffs and they got discount double checked out of the playoffs by the boogeyman Aaron Rodgers. When the Packers won that game, it was just like the Eagles won for me. But anyhow, enough of that. We'll deal with that at the end of the season, I believe. But listen, it has been rough. I did look at the early schedule and I said, oh boy, this might not start well. There's a lot of just murderer's row of teams that the Eagles had to play. Everyone's saying it's an easy schedule. I didn't see this as an easy schedule. When I saw who the Eagles are playing, where they're playing some of these games, the situations, I'm like, yeah, for a young coaching staff, for a young team to have to play the two teams that were in the Super Bowl last year, including the champs, even though they were home games, it's still going to be tough. The Niners at Dallas, even at Carolina, that was a win and a good win for the Eagles. But yeah, I mean, it was a lot of games that were just tough games right there. Even today, at Vegas, it's a tough game. It's a winnable game. Like I said, I believe it is a winnable game, but it's still a tough game. It's a tough spot. Although it is coming off, a little extra rest because you played a Thursday night game. But it's still, hey, look, it's a road game. Any road game ain't going to be, walk in the park, even though there are only 2 wins so far this season have been on the road. And to their credit, I mean, you got 2 road wins so far already, on the season. So I don't think they're afraid to play anybody on the road. I think that they're, it shows that they're a prepared team. When you win on the road, I mean, that it shows that. So again, I give them a shot at this game today. But again, you got to step up. You got to get some pressure on Derek Carr. And offensively, balance. Run the ball. It's simple. It's a simple thing. Run the ball. It opens things up for your offense. Those plays that you want to make in the RPO system, play action system, it only works if you run the ball, if you show a defense that you can run the ball, that you're willing to run the ball, that you're willing to hand the ball off to Sanders or Gainwell and make some plays. It's the only way that this thing's going to work. It's the only way this offense is going to work. And it is also a way for them to have an identity, which they haven't had besides just having Jalen throw the ball all the time. Jalen, just do it all. And I know they want to see what Jalen is this season, right? First year with a new coach, and you want to see what he can do, what his strengths are, because going forward, I mean, it's just going to determine, is he the guy, yes or no? And I'm not ready to make that decision just yet. Listen, I've been frustrated at times with him, as every Eagle fan has been to this point, but I'm still not ready to say, oh, he's definitely not the guy, because I don't know. I mean, we still have to get through the rest of the season, and he has played against some tough teams. And he's a young quarterback. He's made some mistakes. Now, again, I don't see him as having the great NFL arm, and that could be his downfall. That could ultimately be why he won't be the starter on this or any other team in the league, but we'll see. To me, he's a likable guy. He does everything right. He says everything right. But it's saying it, and then you got to do it. You got to back it up. You got to make those good plays, the plays where they're there to be made. You got to be able to survey the field. You got to be able to make those throws. And we'll see. Again, we have some games here that are winnable, that are games that, okay, you're not playing against the GOAT or Patrick Mahomes or Tyreek Hill or Antonio Brown or any of those guys, right? You are going against some good players with the Raiders, like I said earlier, but it's a winnable game. It's a winnable game. Do the things that you can do, that you're capable of doing to make those adjustments and get a win. Because if they get a win this week, again, listen, how bad as it looked, if they get a win today, you have a winnable game on Halloween next week against Detroit. And then, again, you win those games, you're 4-4, and it's almost like the season starts anew. And now you're fighting for, if not a division title, but at least to get in the wild card and get into the postseason. You never know. You never know. And as far as the draft picks go, you're probably still going to have a high draft pick from Miami, maybe even from Indianapolis, but we'll see. Certainly Miami, at least to this point, looks like it could be a high pick. And we'll see. You take it as it comes. Take it as it comes. Get a win. Get a win. That's what I got to say about this game. Find a way to get a win against Pistol and Throwback Kings Raiders. First time the Eagles are playing a game against a team from Las Vegas. So it's the first trip to Las Vegas for the Eagles. I know there's a lot of Eagle fans there, took the trip, and shout out to all of them. Hopefully they can help us get a win, bring back a win from Vegas. Okay? So that's my thoughts on the game today. Eagles versus the Vegas Raiders, right? We'll see how things go. By the way, as far as the Raiders are concerned, I will say this. I know they're in Vegas now. I think they should incorporate a little gold in the uniform, all right? The Raiders, when they first came in the league, you have to look this up, their original uniforms had some gold in it. And they went away from it. It was a brief thing. They've been silver and black ever since. But when they first came in the league, and if I remember correct, and Throwback King back me up on this because I know he knows, they did have some gold in the uniform, right? Because when you think of Raiders, it's like a pirate. So what are pirates going after? Gold, right? Right? The Buccaneers have some. Well, they have more of a different color, but same kind. You understand, right? I know the Buccaneers came in the league. It was the creamsicles, right? But the Raiders, when they first came in the league, their first uniforms that had a little gold trim to it. So, and I know Throwback King for years has been saying, the Raiders just have a couple uniforms. They need to have a different uniform, alternate uniform, change it up a little bit, right? I know it's tradition, but change it up a little bit. I think now that they're in Vegas, they should add a little gold, even if it's as an alternate uniform. like starting next season. I know now the alt uniform is the throwback white with the silver and black numbers, right? But I do think that they should have a little gold trim somewhere because it does go back to their history, and they're in Vegas. You gotta have some gold if you're going to be in Vegas. The Knights to it. The Raiders have to have a little gold. I know it will primarily be silver and black. You got to add a little gold trim to those uniforms, going back to the history, and also, you're in Vegas now. Come on. I'm not saying have like a deck of cards or chips or something on there, or like a slot wheel on the uniform, but a little gold trim would look nice in my opinion, and it would harken back to their uniform history. This is just the jersey. This is what I do. But anyhow, I'm here to help. The Festive thinks so too. Pistol, what do you think of that one, huh? Anyhow, speaking of Festive, let's get to the weekly Festive 4. Festive a week ago went 3-1 yet again. My goodness. The Eagles are very inconsistent on offense, but Festive is consistently picking at least 3-1 the last few weeks, right? It's been consistent across the board. So let's go to the picks for week 7. Again, the 4-pack of winners, just winners. Don't care about point spreads and this, that, the other thing. You can do that in your own time. Festive, though, just picks winners, okay? And we're going to go to the weekly 4-pack of winners that Festive teams that Festive feel are going to win. First of all, we go with the New England Patriots. I know the Patriots, a couple tough losses in a row, right? It's been some tough games. They were in games, just couldn't finish them out, right? Festive likes them to rebound this week against the New York Jets. Another thing that's been consistent over the years has been the Patriots' dominance of the Jets. Festive believes it will continue today with a Patriots win against the Jets. Festive also likes the Los Angeles Rams against Detroit. I guess that's the low-hanging fruit pick of the week, but Detroit still has yet to win. And it is dangerous to pick against a team that has yet to win when you go this many games, because you never know. That team could find a way to get a W, right? But Festive believes it won't be this week, and we hope it's not next week against the Eagles. But the Rams, Festive likes the Rams against the Motor City Kitty Cats. Festive also likes Resurrection and the rest of the faithful there with the Niners. Festive likes the Niners over Carson Wentz's Indianapolis Colts. That's a tough one. The Colts have been playing pretty decent, all right, the past few weeks, and Festive feels that the Niners are going to get him a loss this week. Festive likes the Niners over the Colts, so there you go. No love for Carson, I guess, right? So Festive also says we need to pick from the Colts, so we need a better pick from them, right? So going with the Niners against the Colts. Festive also rounded out likes Miami to get a win, even though we need their pick too, Festive. But the Miami Dolphins end their losing streak against Atlanta. So that's a tough one. So don't say Festive doesn't stays away from the tough ones, because Festive has Miami and Tua. Even with all that talk about Watson and the trades, Festive likes Tua to have a nice game today against Atlanta and the Dolphins to get a win there. So in recap, Festive likes New England over the Jets, the Rams over Detroit, San Francisco over Indianapolis, and Miami over Atlanta. That is the Festive 4 for Week 7. And Festive on the season is 14-6. My goodness. And again, Festive still challenges Slim to a pick-off one of these weeks. But anyhow, don't let that face fool you. Festive crunches these. No, Festive knows. Festive knows the picks. 14-6. Book it week to week, the Festive 4. Anyhow, we're going to move on and say goodbye for now. Hope you enjoyed the video. And if you would, please do give it that like, even the Raider fans out there. Like. Okay. The vid. And be sure, if you haven't already done so, to hit that subscribe button. And once you do, hit the bell icon so you get notified to future vids going forward for the rest of this Eagles season and the rest of multiple seasons to come. And, of course, for other videos that I do as well on the channel. The In the Life series, which hopefully will be starting back up next week, or this week, I should say. Now it's Sunday, and also pickup vids. You just never know what you're going to see on the channel, so make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you're notified of all future content. And as always, let's go Birds! Let's get a win today. Come on, let's get a win in Vegas. Hopefully the slots show up wins this week, and we get a win in Vegas. Maybe, dare I say, start a winning streak? Maybe, perhaps. Yeah, that'd be nice. Anyhow, we'll see. Let's go Birds. I'll see you at some point after the game next week.